All right, guys, it's finally here. This is going to be a three-parter. This is a part one. I'll release the rest over the rest of the week. There is so much good information in this interview. If you guys don't learn how to make more money in the appliance business, listen to this interview, you aren't listening. It's crazy how from one appliance guide to another, how we make different money, how we sell for different prices, how we get product. But just check out this interview. Let me know what you think and down in the description below. And by the way, Ben's hat is hilarious. Ask him, go to his channel and comment. Ask him if he's going to start selling his merch soon because I asked him a little bit and he said he's not yet, but he's thinking about it. It says making appliances work again. Hilarious guy. All right, guys, we'll start this interview right now. All right, man. So what's going on? You got the big eBay appliance business over there, and I see you got a lot of inventory too. You do a whole lot of sales.
I this is actually really bad right now. Our sales are really cyclical here. And what I mean by that is like I have some okay stock right now, but every Saturday we'll just kind of go through and we will sell every single piece we have on a Saturday. So like 2 Saturdays ago, I probably had 20 washers and dryers on my floor. I had probably like double stacked front and back row. I don't know how well you can kind of see it here. I'll see if I can move this okay. But this whole row was like double stacked all the way from the front of my shop to the back of my shop, everything. And I swear we sold everything from like 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. I was doing so much sales, I had to grab two other guys to help me get everything processed and out the door because it was like the washer apocalypse. But I have a good market in Ohio because I don't have competition. That's why I got into it, was that there's no one else. Everyone else that would have been my competitor had got out of business in the past like 2 or 3 years. And people kept asking because I leased a hardware store, what used to be a hardware store, the next building over. And people would come in and ask for plumbing or electrical. And I tell them, go to Lowe's. Well, we don't have Lowe's. Go to Sutherland's, what we have here. And they have plumbing and electrical, but no one has appliances. And my option to tell people to go get like a washer dryer set was go to rent to own, go to Aaron's, go to whatever rental place you could to get a washer dryer set. And I started thinking, why am I not doing that? I mean, there's no competition. They're charging $1,000 for this junk Amana set. Maybe I should get into that, and that's how I got into it.
Yeah, that's you're similar to what I do. I do a lot of mainly refurbing and selling, but I think you are very interested with your channel because you also sell on eBay on a regular basis, which I think a lot of guys don't do. I have done it a little bit, but I would really, yeah, I mean, we can go one subject at a time, but like the eBay thing, I think is really your big niche that you are probably king of.
I know guys that murder me in sales on eBay. Right now, I'm kind of at a low period because we had a flood in our building back in June, and then my PayPal account got hacked. I had one of my techs, I don't know if he died from COVID, but he died from something really weird to where my eBay like died from April through really September. So I'm like, I've got everything set back right now to where I'm getting back on eBay. And I mean, I'm doing about $3,000 a month just on eBay right now, but I can do more in the near future. It's extra money. It literally pays for all my parts that I have to get for like my working machines here. And it also pays for like some of the guys I get my appliances off of. I'll PayPal them some money to buy some product from them, and all that comes from my eBay. So when I sell something in here, it's 100% profit. I'm not paying for parts necessarily from the proceeds I get from this. So it's a few extra $1,000s a month free and clear. And I've only been doing that part of it for about 1.5 years on eBay. It's just, I had so many parts from scrap units that I was like, hey, I'm going to see if I can do this. And all of a sudden it was like, boom, a lot of sales.
All right. Do you have a price point that you don't deal with cheaper products? I know I personally don't like selling anything that's under 50. I just feel like it's a lot of trouble through eBay to make less than $50.
Yeah, I try to avoid anything under $20. Basically, if I know that I'm going to pay $5 shipping and maybe $2 eBay, I want to clear at least $10 for putting a label on something, minimum $10. But the thing is, the prices on eBay on stuff vary so wildly that you can have the same looking like washer or dryer board, and you think it's the same exact thing, but one will go for $50 and the other one will go for $100. And it's almost like you got to go through, do your research, and then roll the dice on what it's really worth. Right before I got into this, I got like a text from eBay saying, "Oh, I sold $100 Frigidaire front load washer board." And I've sold like one or two other of those in the past week for like $40 each, and then this one's $100. So it really varies depending on what it is and what kind of unit it's off of. Some of the more rare it is, clearly the more expensive the eBay stuff is.
Yeah, I find that especially with dryer timers, it's crazy the price difference between one timer to the next.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I probably have a stack of like 60 dryer timers over in my shop, little eBay area. And, if it's like a Whirlpool brand dryer timer that's remotely new, you get $40 out of it. If it's a newer GE, you'll get $40 out of it. Anything past that, especially like slightly older GE or actual Maytag timers, they're worthless. You'll get $20 if you're lucky, and you're probably sitting on it for months. But anything newer, you can throw in a first class and make $20 in like 2 minutes of packing. So that they can be worth it. And the washer timers are worth a whole lot more than dryer timers on average. Whirlpool direct drive timers, I sell a lot of those, and they're anywhere from $40 at worst up to, I think I just listed one for $100. So there's a little bit of money in there, but that's really the reason I do that is if I get a unit that we can't fix in our shop, and you do the same thing I do, you'll pay up to $50 to fix a unit. And if it doesn't go for that much, just send it down the road, and I'll just pull the timer off of it and maybe one or two other components I think that are worth it. And then, I'll go scrap it out. And at least if I pay $20 for that junk unit, I can get a little bit more than that back on the parts. So at least I'm not losing money, and I've lost a lot of money buying junky things before.
Yeah, you also buy at least working units, so you test sometimes when people bring them in and will pay them a little more than $15 to $20.
Yeah, so that's the secret of what I do, Gabe, is the one thing I do differently is I have a relationship with factory installers. Like, I chased down the Home Depot truck, the guy that was delivering the brand new stuff. Jumped in the back, I swear I did this. I jumped in the back of their truck and handed all the guys a card and said, "You come see me. I want your working stuff." Because they're in people's houses pulling the old units out. They know if the units are working or not, and that person's upgrading, or if there's a critical failure, and that's why they're going out and replacing their junk Samsung or whatever. So I told him, I said, "Look, I'll pay you double what I pay my scrappers if you guarantee me that product works at least like 80 or 90% of the time." So I can get some good product to where 80 or 90% of it's good, or it's a very minor thing. And I pay them more money for it. And I have to have, $300 or $400 in my wallet to do that. But I can get a box truck full of good product pretty fast, and it's generally going to be reliable. It's not perfect, and it has to be a relationship with someone that I trust and have built a relationship up with, because I've had installers that don't know what they're doing. But I have 2 installers I can think of that I've kind of trained, and they know what I'm looking for. So it's nothing for them to bring in maybe 3 or 4 washer dryer sets and it's all working, or it needs a heating element or a shift actuator on a newer Whirlpool, and I may have to fix 2 out of 6 units. And I'll pay $300 for them, and within 1 day of work, we'll have them all tested out on the floor, and I'll make over $1,000. And that's the best way I have found to find a product, even beyond my normal scrapper guys that bring stuff in, is those relationships with the factory haul or the store haul away guys. It's more money. You put more money into that product working, but you can turn the product a lot faster because you're under the assumption there's no spider bracket problems, or the motor's not going out, or the bearing isn't shot on that GE washer or whatever. So it works out pretty well.
Yeah, the spider bracket problem, that is one that just is coming up more and more often with front loaders in my area. I don't know if it's the age that's doing it or what it's about, but I'll grab onto that drum and I'll just shake a little bit, and it's super easy to figure it out pretty quickly. But like, I don't know what's going on, but like, it used to be I barely ever saw it happen. Now it's the odds of it happening are nearly 50-50 now.
Yeah, and that's a thing that I look for if I'm looking at a front loader to buy. I don't care where it's coming from. First thing I'm doing is taking a hold of that and shifting a little bit, running it around and seeing if that basket's worked. And if it's worked, I just send it on down the road. Or if I think that maybe there's some parts that are worth something, I'll just say, look, it's not worth it to me. You can take it to the dump across the street, because I'm only 2 miles away from a dump. And I'll tell them, I'll give you $10 or $15 for it just because you got it out of your vehicle, or I've jumped in the back of yours to look at it. And they're going to make, maybe $5 more off of that unit to leave it here. And I only do that on units that I can like look at and think that's why they got rid of it, and roll the dice if the interface and the boards are okay, because you can make the front loaders do have a lot of work well parts in them, on average, maybe more than a top load does. But I stray away from it unless I know that unit's like really clean and it just gave up the ghost because the brackets jumped.
Yeah. So you're buying from guys like delivery guys from Lowe's, and you're paying them like maybe for a dryer $50 to $100.
I'm paying them $50 for a washer or a dryer. Doesn't matter the age, as long as it isn't in really bad shape. And they know not to bring in, the Roach Motel specials, which the scrap guys, some of them don't get that. And I get really frustrated with that because I don't know how long you've been in this, but if you get close enough to some units, you can tell what kind of house they've been in just by the odor. And if they have roaches in them, there's a specific roach odor, and it's dysentery is what I found out. And if it has dysentery in it, it's not coming in my building. And my installers know right off the bat that that's an issue. But I'm paying $50 for a washer or dryer from them, and the ones I have a really good relationship with have a money back guarantee with me. So if they bring something in, they really missed it, and I can't fix it. Instead of me having to eat the loss, they're just taking it back. So I don't have any money in really bad units anymore, at least from them. Now I wish I could get like 100% of my product from them. It's probably closer to like 50-60% right now, but it helps me turn over product faster, because I'm sure where you live, Alabama, right?
Mississippi.
Mississippi. Okay, so yeah, basically any product I have sells within 3 days. I can't keep up with demand. I could probably have 100 units in my shop, and I'll probably sell them within 2 weeks. So I'm 100% supply constrained. And if I can turn out units that I don't have to fix, it saves me a lot of time and money, because I can just keep churning out the good stuff. I may make a little bit less money, but time is money too. And that's why you're not spending over $50 to fix something, and neither am I, because I don't want to put 2 or 3 hours in a unit to try to resurrect it, when I could spend those 3 hours maybe fixing 3 units or 4 units, which is going to be worth way more money than messing around with that one.
Exactly. That's a hard one to explain to people too. When I talk about certain washers and dryers, the time factor of them versus a direct drive or a filter out the top dryer, how quickly and how many I can fix, not how many I can fix one in an hour. I can fix several in an hour if I'm really just getting after it. And then you run into some washers, Samsung, stuff like that, it's hard to diagnose, and the parts are expensive, and the time factor and the odds of something else going wrong after you fix that thing are tremendously higher in some machines. And I'll get some machines, I'll still pay my scrappers the exact same price. I always pay $15 for dryers, $20 for washers, but I don't do anything with them. I'll test them really quickly. I'll plug them in, make sure it's not something silly that's wrong. But for the most part, I know they're going directly out to my yard, and I'm going to script out the parts and bring them out to the yard immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the way it is with us. Once in a while, we'll get some units that are just going to be parts for other machines. Anymore, I reject a lot of units just by looking at them, because if I can avoid having a bad unit in my shop, I will. It's always, when I watch your videos, I get really surprised when I see so much GE product on your floor, because at least in us Northerners up here, I can't find GE products that work to save my life. Like GE dryers are really, really bad because they won't change the glides or the upper bearing. And where I'm at, it's like 90% of people that have those GE dryers that get rid of them is that metal on metal contact on one of the upper parts of the brackets is already ripping through, and it's like really sharp and jagged, and you can physically see that. And it's like, no, I'm not taking that because the timer is almost worthless to me. And there's no real parts that I have to go through, because if they don't have that problem on a GE, I never have any other problems with them. Heating element maybe once out of every 10 units, but people up here just run them till they explode, and then they just send them on down to a scrapper or whatever. So I have to be very wary of certain brands, like you said, Samsungs. We deal with Samsungs a lot, but only because I can charge a huge premium on them.
I don't mess with GEs that have touched the metal. If they've gone through the plastic bearing that holds the plastic little skids in place, you can get one of those for like, depending on where you get your stuff from. New, you can get them on Amazon for like $30, I think, and
Yeah.
eBay you can get them for like 20. So that's still under my $50 threshold, and I keep a pile of those. So there's so often that people will stop when they start hearing a squeak. But just what you're saying, sometimes I'll get a machine and it's eaten through into the inside of the machine, and there's no fixing it. It's just, you're parting out and moving on. But I will say GE, yeah, about half the Gs I get are ruined. They ran them so long that they've run into the metal. But if they haven't, super easy fix, and they're so quiet. That's the one thing about GE. When you replace those skids, that's the quietest running machine. It's crazy. When you turn it on, you think, oh, the drum's not spinning, and you open it, it is spinning. That it was a good design as far as making it quiet, but as far as durability goes, worst design in the world.
Yeah, and I mean, at least with my customers, when I have like matching GE, they probably are the fastest selling product I have, because the washer drums are just so much larger. I can point to them and say, hey, this has a larger drum, and they'll just buy it right then and there because they want that larger capacity. And if a GE works good, like you said, they run great, but getting them there is a huge problem for us.
Yeah, the GE washers, people pick them up with a dolly, and they have that metal plate on the bottom that will bend up and start touching only during when they fill up with water on large load. So it's a very confusing problem. That's why when I test, I don't care what brand it is, I always test on large load to make sure it's not going to overflow or something like that happens. But that's a super common problem. And I'll get GE washers all the time that it will just be bent on the bottom, and you'll go in with a hammer and straighten it back out. Or I'll also put braces. So you can pull those screws out of the bottom and add a spacer going across to create more of a gap, and just pull the feet out a little bit more to create more of a gap there. But yeah, GE is one of those things. It's like just what you're saying. It's such a horrible machine, but sometimes the problem is super easy to fix, but sometimes it's gone.
Yeah, it's a numbers game. You can look at the different brands and say, I have this percentage chance of getting it fixed one way or the other. That's what you tend to gravitate towards. But I mean, it's the same for anybody that fixes used stuff. You know that if it's a direct drive, you have an 80% chance of fixing it, or maybe if it's a Maytag, you have a pretty good chance of it. And then other brands are, you keep going down the list till you hit a Samsung or something at the bottom.
Yeah, if it has a filter at the top, and I know that's Whirlpool owns like a million different sub brands of it, but it's a filter coming out the top machine, 95% chance I can fix it. It's just one of those. Whenever I see those machines, I don't care what they tell me is wrong with it. I'll either have the part or the part's cheap. It's just such a great machine. They're still making it. It's still such a great machine.
Yeah. Actually, this one right here, this is a trade-in I got a few days ago. Someone bought another Whirlpool off me, and for like $150, and they said, oh, I think this one has a bad belt in it. So 2 screws, you're done. And you look at it, and you're like, oh yeah, it's a belt, $5. And I'm sure I'll sell this one for about $120. And I think I did like a $15 trade-in on them, so I'll make over $100 for what was a 5-minute job, 10-minute job, or something like that. So yeah, I love getting those trade-ins.
All right, that's it for part 1. I do have 3 parts of this coming out, but guys, this was such a great interview. If you did not learn how to make more money in the appliance business with this video, I don't know how to help you, because I learned so much myself. I'm going to re-listen to this over and over again. It's crazy how from one appliance guide to another, how different we buy, how different we sell, the different ways we can make money. But I'm looking forward to the rest of these. There's going to be 2 more coming out, and let me know down in the comments below what you guys learned, what you thought. And please like, please subscribe, and go check out Ben's channel. It's got so much great information, and we'll see y'all next time.